Hey guys, this is David Wynn with the Mortgage Edge podcast brought to you by Click and Close Mortgage. Today we have a very special guest from Dallas, Texas, or actually Plano, Texas, James Sharp of the Sharp Real Estate Team. James, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, David. I'm honored to be here. One of the first podcasts of the 2025 years, so super excited to be here.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? You are definitely the sharpest dressed man in show business. And so let's start off with your reputation that precedes you. What are you known for, James?
Well, my last name is Sharp, as he mentioned. So as a little boy, I had a name to, respond to and stuff. My dad grew up without a lot of means and stuff there. But one of the things he always prided us kids on is, hey, you own that name. It's a good name. It's a solid name. I'm named after my dad. So James Allen is named after my dad. And whenever I go anywhere, I would be the Sharp boy. So I would dress back in the 70s and 80s. Some people would remember the polyester suits and stuff, but I'd rock that polyester suit big time, the clip-on tie. I'd be like, I'm a Sharp boy. And that my dad would always say, yeah, he with pride. He would beam with pride. Yeah, that's my boy, James Sharp. Fast forward, I've been in a lot of retail environments there. I used to run a natural foods kind of like a Whole Foods grocery store, a Chevron gas station, a Napa Auto Parts, Ace Hardware. And everywhere I went, I had that kind of reputation. Hey, he's a sharp guy, straight shooter. He'll take care of you, whatever their need was. Fast forward, I come to Texas, and I almost get killed. This is a crazy story. How I got into real estate was I had a real estate agent back in the day when they used the map books. There was no Google Maps back then. This is early 2000. And he picked this up in his car, his Cadillac. He started smoking a cig as he was reading the map book, and he was talking on his brick cell phone. So this is dating me a little bit here. Yeah. This is a couple moons ago. But he got into oncoming traffic on Northwest Highway, no joke. Swerving and cursing and trying to avoid head-on collision. And I'm in the backseat with my newly minted bride, and I'm like, stop the car, the tour's over. Oh my gosh, you trying to kill us or what? He's like, whoa, what? He almost, caught himself on fire. But he was like, okay, I'll take you back. I'm sorry and stuff. And I said, if this Yahoo can sell real estate, there's something wrong with this industry. And I called his boss that day, and I said, look, no disrespect, but this guy is unprofessional. And we've worked with a few unprofessionals in our time, David. But this guy was the top of the line. And he was trying his best, but it was clearly not suited for him. But his boss said, look, I have a great opportunity for you. I have a really top-notch agent. You give us another opportunity. I know you signed up with us. We're going to represent you. Let me get you in touch with Becky. Becky calls me a couple minutes later. I tell her what I'm looking for. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you've been all over the creation. We were out with this guy for 2 weeks. We were looking for a house, very specific. We had a budget. She goes, I know exactly what you're looking for. I'll meet you this afternoon. We'll see 4 houses. You're probably going to like one of the 4. Sure as I'm here sitting you. She took us out 4 houses. We bought one. Now, the one we were under contract to buy had multiple offers, David. Now, who hasn't had those kind of situations, right? Where you like something and somebody else likes it too. But your agent can make or break that deal. And I said, Becky, I want this house. So I've been looking for weeks. We were ready to go. And she goes, you got something in you. You should be a real estate agent. I like how you're thinking. Your negotiation style shows I know exactly what we do. So we kind of came up with a game plan, put it in action there, and we got the house. And we fast forward throughout the transaction. She goes, you should get in real estate, James. You have what it takes. You should get in real estate. In fact, I'm at this office over here around the corner from where you're buying. They're looking for new agents. You should go get your real estate license. And that light bulb moment hit. And I said, wow, I had this experience where a really bad professional, unprofessional agent tried to almost kill me and my bride to this tremendous professional got me through this really awesome transaction where I was pleased. I couldn't wait to get in the house. And I said, that's what I want to grow up to be. And I just poured myself into the real estate deal. And here we are 23 years later, almost 2,000 sales under the belt, a few homes sold over those years.
What a great story. Because I tell people all the time, I don't know anybody unless they grew up with real estate parents.
Yeah.
That go into the business. It's not like it's a plan when you're a kid growing up saying, I'm going to be a mortgage guy. Hey, I'm going to be a realtor.
Nobody says that.
Anybody in the business kind of fell into it, somehow, some way, or whatever. So what'd you do? First year, you knocked it out of the park, or was it gradual?
Just the opposite there. First year, they were like, it's one of those things. It's a high attrition rate in the industry.
Yeah.
In fact, the first year, I didn't sell anything for 6 months. 6 months of writing checks to everybody else. And my bride at the time, she was riding me. She goes, hey, I think this is cool and all that you're writing all these checks. How about you get a check with your name on it? And I said, I'm working on it. This is high sophisticated real estate stuff that we're doing. But I said, just wait. And as luck would have it, I'm at the real estate office. Back in the day, I signed up with Debbie Holiday. So I was in our little workroom back in office, and I was talking to some agents, and they're like, hey, there's this funny Irish man that's going to be in town. He's coming to Austin, Texas. Do you have anything going on this next month? And I said, no, as a matter of fact, I don't. I haven't sold a house. I have nothing going on. I'm kind of free. And they go, you should go check out Brian Buffini. And as luck would have it, June 22nd, 2002, I remember the day. I remember where I was at. I was in the ballroom in Austin, Texas, hearing one of these amazing stories of a gal named Phyllis Glover, God rest her soul. But she was the same person that came to us 6 months earlier when I got brand new in the license and I was at Ebby School. She was talking about this Irish guy. She's like, hey, I do this program. I show up at people's doorfront. I bring them a little gift. I ask them if they know anybody looking to buy or sell, or if they do come across somebody, keep me in mind. Oh, by the way, and she brings gifts. I'm like, I don't know. That's a girl thing. I ain't going to do that. So I kind of shelved that whole conversation. Here I am in Austin, Texas. I'm seeing the lady in front of 2,000 attendees there in this ballroom packed to the gills. I'm in the back and I'm like, that is the same lady. She's belting out the Star Spangled Banner like something else. And Brian goes out there. This was a goal of Phyllis to sing in front of you. And I made that happen today. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And the next 2 hours, Brian's pouring into us his story. He was an immigrant. He came from Ireland. He came to San Diego, got hit by a car. He got really mangled up with the stuff and he got tied up with bills. And then he got found real estate and he says, man, what if I can make something out of this? And he just poured himself, showing up, being transparent with people, being vulnerable with people. People thought he had a funny accent, but he didn't let that stop him. And I said, well, I haven't sold any houses, Brian. Can you work with me? And it was like he was talking to me, like the spotlight came onto me, David. And he's like, I am not selling any books or CDs, no programs today, other than if you want my coaching help, I will have room for you. If you don't, I hope you had a good time with this in the next 2 days. And I said, well, heck, I have nothing to lose. Let me sign up. And he made a guarantee. So if you follow me in this coaching for 90 days, you don't get anything, I'll refund your money. So I tell my bride at the time, I said, guess what I just did? She goes, what? I said, I signed up for $5,000 coaching today. She's like, you do what? You crazy. And I said, no, I believe in myself. Fast forward, I did 90 days of work. It's just showing up, calling people. I didn't know that many people, David. I moved here from California. And I mean, I knew my guy that did my teeth, my dentist. I knew the banker at the bank. I knew, a few people that had worked for me. And I went to him and I said, hey, oh, by the way, if you're, thinking about selling or had anybody looking to buy or sell. And my first person I showed up, I had these little forget-me-not seeds that he told me to do. And the little raffia crap. I don't even know what that's all about, but it looked cute, I'm like, here you go, Pam. Here's this little Popeye. She's like, oh my God, that's cute. And she goes, I'm on the phone with my friend, and she's looking to buy a house. Here, talk to her. And just like that, David, my first deal was when I did one of these things that Phyllis said to do.
Just knocking on someone's
someone's door that I knew, somebody that I knew. Key point.
Okay.
This is a business that it's relationships.
All relationships.
How we're here together is through a mutual relationship. A good friend of mine that knows us both says, hey, talk to James. He's a top agent. Talk to David. He's top in mortgage. And that's how we're doing this podcast. So, but that told me something. That showed me, it was kind of like all of a sudden light bulb moment. And I'm like, it's not just a girly thing to show up with people and show interest in people. In fact, it's actually better as a guy when I show up and I have fresh baked cookies, or I show up like this week, we're giving out faucet protectors because in Dallas, Texas, this week of January, it's going to be down in the teens next weekend. And so I've been giving out these like, hey, you can't even find these at Home Depot. Here, I got 2 or 3. How many you need here? How many to protect your house? Because you're important to me. You're a valuable person to me. Whether you buy our house with me or refer me, I don't care. I want to protect you. People appreciate that, especially now in 2025 when we're recording this. It seems like there's a loss of people's concern or apathy towards people's situation. We're almost always like at odds with each other, want to fight and blow up each other and stuff because you vote for this or you do this or you're on this deal. And I'm like, cut all that crap out. To me, it's all about relationships. It's all about showing how much you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
You know what, James? I couldn't agree with you more. You know, we live in a world of social media. Everybody wants to hide behind a screen. Yeah. This right here is very rare now. To actually meet someone.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many clients I hardly meet, even though I try. You know? Because it's such a behind the media.
Just send me the link, David. I'll do it online.
Exactly. You know, everybody hides behind it. Everybody, it's hard to get out. I mean, and especially COVID.
Well,
you know, we're 5 years removed from COVID, and people still think that we're trapped behind a house.
Yeah.
People just don't get out anymore like they used to. Do you remember? Do you remember the happy hours? Do you remember the meetings? Do you remember all that stuff? It hasn't come back.
It is coming back, but it's slow and it's methodical and it's a little bit more reserved, I think. But I think what is inspiring to me right now, is I've seen this in the last 12 months, is that I think people are clamoring to have some connection, some relationship. They're wanting to get out of the house. They don't want to be behind their screens, though the screens have some, some natural benefit, but there's more that's kind of like that connectivity. And I saw it too, man. When I was like during COVID, I was working at home and I'm like, dude, I don't want to get out of my own house, dude. This house is way too small. I got 3 kids running around here. Oh my gosh, we're on top of each other. And if I do another binge of Netflix, I'm gonna slip my wrist, And all of a sudden, I made a move during COVID and stuff there, and I bought a bigger house and moved us and stuff. And I went through all that, and to me, what is important to this whole transaction and this whole deal is finding a place to live is a big deal for folks.
Yeah.
Always has been, always will be. Doesn't matter who's in office, doesn't matter what's happening in the economies there, whether it's, on the local level, state level, national level. To me, the biggest economy you and I help people with is an economy of their own personal effects. And one of the best things I've been blessed to do is help, like I said, almost 2,000 families get into the dream of owning a house. When I hand keys today, it's just the amount of juice I need. Actually, I get more juice today handing the keys. I was just on the phone before this with the lady that she broke down in tears on the phone because she's going through a lot of life right now and she has to sell. And I can hear it in her voice, and I was empathetic. I said, hey, I've been with you from the get-go. We have done a lot of life together. You can trust me that my team and I will bend over backwards to help you. And she goes, that's why you're my agent, James. That's why I'm calling you. We have already helped her 4 times. This will be number 5. But we have done a lot of life, and I knew she was hurting. And she already got a personal note sent out today. She will get my undivided attention next week. We will help her through that transaction, navigate through life, because we've all had hits during this deal. The last 5 years, if you're still standing, congratulations, because there's a lot of us that, we've taken some serious blows over the last 5 years.
I say it all the time, and one thing I learned from life is this. There's ups and downs. A full life, there's no such thing as a constant worry or a constant success. We all go through it and endure it. So let's talk about that. Well, James, let's fast forward today, 23 years later.
Yep.
You have a team.
I have a team.
Are you still out there actually doing transactions as the owner of the business? Or
I am. I'm a team lead. I have several agents on the team, and I've been blessed to have that team. I had to create that team, though, because I'm a single dad now. Unfortunately, the wife and I, we split, when I got full custody of the kids back in 2012, I had to come up with a decision. I'm like, do I get all into this business? And if so, that I have to create a system and team to support me so I can get the kids to school in the mornings and pick them up after school in the carpool lane. And so, as you know, when you're doing it as a single parent, life changes on a dime. And it was the best thing that my ex could have done when she says, hey, I'm in a bad situation. I need you to take the kids full time. And I said yes. And then I had a freak out moment, David, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I say yes to? Because up to that point, we had joint custody. I was going back and forth. And in this business of real estate, you can survive and do that, all right? But I had to take it to another level. So the best thing, 13 years ago now, was creating the team. And I started with just an assistant, and then I started with a transaction person, and then I started with some agents there. Now there's 7 of us that work with the Sharp team here in Plano. One lady is remote. She works for us and does everything remote, but I am blessed beyond measure because it's allowed me to be a lot more efficient at what we all do. Everyone has their role on the bus, and you will, and we all drive together. And I think in this 2025 year, when this is recorded, you have to have a good team to work for you. If you have a real estate agent, but they're a single agent, there's probably some stuff that's not getting attended to or not getting addressed as best it can in this day and age. We've had unprecedented change in our industry. There was a big change that happened last August. That one change led to dozens of repercussions and to ripple into more documents and more producing and more fiduciary and stuff. What I'm saying is there's a lot of need for somebody who is doing this business real estate to get involved with the team. And what you're starting to see is the teams are the ones that are making big swings, like Ryan Seahart there in New York. He's created his own team around him and stuff there, and created a brand around it there. I know the guys there really well, and they're just killing it and stuff there because they found that they could do better together than when they could do by themselves.
Well, it's funny you say that. So I have a team also. The days of the single real estate guy or the single mortgage person, it used to be, hey, I need to make sure I'm there 24/7. No, you don't.
No.
The customer and the client wants service.
Yeah.
How can you give them more service by having more people in the thing?
Yeah.
I can tell you when one of my clients call, someone always picks up. In fact, what's great about the CRMs now is we're all looped to one CRM with AI and everything else. Mm-hmm. They call one central point. Someone always picks up day, night, weekend. And then they pass it off to the team. I know I had a friend, done several transactions with her, and she just mentioned that to another friend, man, that was the smoothest transaction I ever did. And I didn't talk to Dave one time.
That's when you got a great team, when they don't have to talk to you, but you know what's going on. You are a pulse on the deal and stuff. I have that same luxury. We have over 100 years of experience on the team, so that goes a long ways. They're not your first rodeo. They're licensed. They're knowledgeable. They've been through it. They've been in the trenches with me. Oh, my gal, she's been with me now going on 18 years. So when you've been around that person, I call her my other work wife. She's my other wife. Yeah, she's married and she has a husband, but Jay's my work husband and stuff. But I take care of my clients and I take care of my team so that they take care of my clients. I'm all about the wow factor. David, this is an industry now, especially, that's under a major attack there. Realize this, that 47% of agents last year did not sell a house at all. That's over 700,000 agents in 2024 did not sell one house, though they're calling themselves a licensed agent. And that's a tragedy that's affected our market and stuff, and affecting our industry as a whole. And I know there's a bunch of loan officers that originate a loan, same kind of concept. So what we're going to see in the next 12 to 18 months is kind of an exodus of a lot of those agents that have been part-time, and they're full-time teacher, part-time real estate agent. No harm in that, but this is an industry now that it has to, and it does consume 100% of my time and attention. Now, I love this industry more in 2025 than any other time, but it has taken a lot more of the hits, and there's a lot more regulatory, a lot more involvement and stuff than I care for. But at the end of the deal, it's about putting people in houses. The American dream is live as any other time. I still talk to dozens of new home buyers every single week, and these folks have a dream. Now, what's happening is, what we're seeing is the average age of a buyer is getting older.
Yep.
Okay, and the whole overall, the sellers are getting older, and the whole median age is getting up there, where they're gonna need family help. They're going to need mom or dad support for down payment. You've seen it in your side. I'm seeing it in my side is. But, we've also affiliated with the #1 podcast for buying a home. It's called How to Buy a Home. Not to plug another podcast on your podcast, but anybody who's thinking about buying a home, my guy David Sidoni, he's committed the last 5 years. He's a real estate agent friend of mine in Southern Cal. He's got over 1,500,000 downloads on this podcast of just people like, how do I buy a home? in 2025. It's kind of a fun deal. And so we are one of his, what he calls unicorn agents, or one of the top agents in his map of the U.S. And we help a lot of first-time home buyers. Any given time, we're probably helping 3 or 4 new first-time home buyers get in a house and showing them you can do this. It is possible in 2025. We may have to get creative, but we're helping a lady right now, and she should not have been a renter for as long as she has. She's been renting for decades, and that's just making somebody else rich. You know, there's a big separation of those who are a renter and those who are homeowner. It's a disproportionate amount of the wealth in the United States. In fact, any wealthy person will tell you, if you're not involved in real estate, get involved as soon as you can.
Well,
and that's
James, let's talk a
key.
little bit about, I live in Frisco, you live in Plano.
Yep.
The average rent is $2,500 to $3,500.
Yeah.
Rent for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, if you can find that. Yeah,
If you can afford $2,500, $3,500, I can get you into a house.
I can get you a house too. Yeah, absolutely.
Even in this market. So
Even
I
in
tell
this
them,
market.
and there are rental properties that are full. There's apartments full of people that they just don't know. They just think that, it's amazing how I still talk to people, and because we're in the business, we know, you can come with as little as 3% down. And there's down payment assistance programs that we have that you come with zero down.
Zero down.
Zero down. I mean, there's more of that than ever. There's been more down payments. You know what? 5 years ago, there was no DPA programs.
Now
Today,
there is. Yeah.
Every company has a down payment assistance program out there.
Absolutely. And it is probably a little bit better situation now, I think, to get in a first-time home and stuff there, or do the move up or move out, kind of thing. We have kind of 3 segments of buyers I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing a lot of the first-time home buyers. It's about a third of our business. See a lot of move up and move out buyers, meaning like, hey, we've had the house is busting at the seams. We got 4 kids. We planned for 1. Now we got 4. Boom. Here we go. We need a bigger house. Or, hey, all the kids are gone. We got this big old house. We need to downsize. Or I'm getting a lot of investors. I find that we're blessed to be in Dallas-Fort Worth, one of the best areas to invest in the country, in my humble opinion. And we've helped so many investors make 20-30% return on their monies in 24. So to me, it's whether you want to get into the home, and if you want to do it, we have a game plan and we have the resources there. There's no excuse if you have a burning desire to get in a house that you can't do it now.
I agree.
Yep.
And what's great about it, everybody's so worried about BlackRock buying all the residential real estate.
So
the number one investor out there are mom and pops.
Yeah.
Out there,
Absolutely.
They're buying their first real estate, or they own 3 or 5 or 10 or whatever.
Absolutely.
They're the people that are buying, that invest in properties.
The first thing I'd say is take that first step. I'm happy to talk to first-time home buyers. I'm happy to help, those people that have those questions there, or even just kind of go through the process. Hey, what does it take to maximize? What I always tell people is, when you have a home, you have a piece of the American dream. You have a piece of the rock, okay? And to me, I've made so much money in real estate on my own personal homes that, I almost have to sell them every 2 or 3 years, just because I've built such a gain in them that I have to roll that into the next one. And it's the American dream. And what happens too is, I don't know if people realize, but the gross domestic product of our United States is a third U.S. housing. And all the accelerators, mortgage and title, insurance and home mortgage and all the stuff, even to the Home Depots and so forth like that. So to me, we're the straw that stirs the drink. And so we're going to make this country great again. We're going to be doing it on the backside of American home ownership. And I'm super excited to be in it in 2025, because I see now at the beginning of this year an unprecedented tidal wave of people coming to Dallas, Texas, to Texas as a whole, to the American dream of owning a house. And I couldn't be more excited about this opportunity. And I'm excited to partner with good folks like yourself and others who are stepped up and say, hey, I can get you into a house. I know the way. Come follow me. Follow this path. We'll get you there.
That's awesome, James. Well, we know real estate's your passion. That's your love, but you have some other passions too.
Sure.
Let's talk about your charities.
Yes. Okay. So I get known for the shoes. Okay.
Let's show them.
The show,
can you
the
throw 'em up there?
shoes. Yes.
Look at that,
you get
guys.
Yeah, baby. Not your average bear.
He is not average.
No, that showed up too, where, I went to a Tony Robbins event. Anybody knows Tony? He's a a guru, if you will. He is my guru, even though he says, I'm not your guru on Netflix, that show. But on his Date with Destiny, where you spend a week with Tony, he talks about all the good stuff inside you. And it's time to let that out, to have a date with your future self in the future called Date with Destiny. And so he basically coached me up into say, hey, show me that James 2.0. Show me all the good that was inside you that you were told you were not big enough, strong enough, you didn't come from the right means and nice background and so forth. So I came to show up at a network event, and I show up with these fly shoes and the jacket opened up, lose the tie. I was before that 3-piece suit, button down, black shoes, nothing very. But I said, I've always wanted to kind of have a little flair. So I show up and somebody saw me and they're like, man, those are some fly shoes. Those are some sharp shoes. And that's where sharp shoes kind of came out of that little discussion. And then at the same time, my broker was like, hey, this weekend I've took a table down. We're going to be doing this thing for the City House. It's a fundraising group. They're doing their big gala this weekend. Would you like to come in as my guest? And I said, sure. And I'm all about philanthropy. But then I heard on stage story after story of these beautiful women that had taken kids in and had rehabilitated them and got them into some work training program, got them into school, took these runaways, took these child protective service situations, took the foster kids and got them into jobs and security and stuff. But she said one of our biggest needs at the level that we have is shoes. And I heard shoes, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is it with the shoes? I love shoes. I could see myself giving these kids shoes. Call up the director the next day. I said, hey, I was at your gala, raised a bunch of money. I pledged a bunch of money. I loved it, but tell me more about the shoes. And she started crying. David, she goes, I was just talking to our directors here how we had an amazing event. We raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're going to put all these kids into great programs, but we don't have kids' shoes today to put these kids into places where they can go to school or they can go to jobs and work and start earning money. She goes, we need about 80 pairs of shoes for these kids in our home. I said, done. Her mouth dropped up. She's like, say what? I said, that's easy peasy. That's done. If that's all you need, 80 pair, I'll make it happen. Now I said, I need no sizes and, boys, girls, men, women, what are we talking? She goes, you're kidding, right? And I said, no, ma'am, I wouldn't kid you. I said, just send me over the list. I'll make it happen and we'll go out and buy the shoes. Now I didn't know what I was getting into, David, because you go buy 80 pairs of shoes and especially men, okay, if you don't know, there's a difference between kids 13s and big boy and girl 13s, okay? They're just a little bit different. So I didn't realize, but they had kids of all ages in their houses. And I went and bought all 80 pairs, and I recruited my mortgage, my title, my insurance, my HVAC guy, people that I do business with. I said, hey, help me out, man. I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to buy these kids shoes. I want to help them out. And they're like, sure, here's $20. Hey, I'll bring some shoes. My kid's outgrown, can't wear, whatever. Got all these shoes together. And then I said, who else needs shoes? And so all of a sudden I started looking around and I had 12 different organizations, David. This was in 2018, December, that said we need shoes. And I said yes to it. And then I said, okay, I got to do a Tony Robbins thing. Say yes and figure out the rest. So I said yes to it. I got 500 pairs of shoes collected in a matter of 3 weeks. Delivered all those the week of Christmas, just a couple days before Christmas, fact. And I was getting huge, juice out of it. Like when I would deliver those 8 pairs to City House, I was like, why am I feeling so good for this? I'm like I got a pair of shoes. Oh my gosh, but I was giving it out. And there's that adage, you give it out in slices, David, it comes back in loaves. And I was like, man, I got to tell somebody. I got to tell this. So I told my mom, I called her up. I said, hey, mama, she's not on social media. She got Facebook. She doesn't go check, whatever. She doesn't know what I'm doing. And I said, hey, I've kind of done this little thing. I went and bought some shoes and I created this little thing and I got a huge kick out of it. I said, we raised 500 pair. And I said, I'm going to go back in time. I said, Mom, you remember back in 1976, we had a house fire, a tremendous house fire. And this is really sensitive to me because we've had a lot of people lose houses last week in the California fires. Yeah. My heart goes out to them because I know this lost all too well. But back in 1976, somebody set our house on fire with us in it, trying to kill us in an act of arson. When you survive with just the clothes on your back and nothing else, and you're going through the ashes the next day, it puts you in perspective. It means everything can be gone in an instant. But what was also very telling to me is somebody didn't like us so much as a family because of our skin color, economic background, whatever. Flint is not an easy town to grow up in, Flint, Michigan. Not to bash Flint, but it was rough back in the 70s. It's still rough today. And when we went through that, we were bouncing around from motels. We lived on government checks, welfare. We weren't going to have a Christmas in 1976. And my parents were proud people, like, no, we're going to figure it out. Mom would do the little story of 5 loaves of fishes. She'd make mac and cheese without the cheese. We'd make macaroni with just butter and salt. I mean, you're just like, that's what we eat. And we were going to have a Christmas that year. And then somebody told the Shriners about our family. And a day before Christmas, I remember it, there's a knock on the door, dun, dun, dun. Big guys, big funny hats come in, burly guys. Hey, we heard about you guys losing a house earlier this summer. We have Christmas here to bring to you. Would you let us into your house? And I saw a dichotomy right there. I saw 6 months earlier, my house going up, thinking my whole family's in there because I ran out. Mom got us out of the burning building. I ran across the street, but I'm not sure where my siblings are. We got connected later, but I saw such a amount of hate because I got bullied, I got beat up on the way to school, I got bloody nosed and stuff. People didn't like me. To who are these people that are perfect strangers, never saw them again, who brought us Christmas. They brought us a tree, they brought us gifts, they brought us food, they brought a turkey, the whole bit. I had the best Christmas ever. And what was so crazy about this story too, David, they gave us each a pair of new shoes. I had a pair of white Converse given to me. And I had never had a new pair of shoes up to that point. I always had my cousin's hand-me-down, the duct tape special, because my cousin would wear them out. JT, you wore those suckers out anytime I got them. And so when I got those shoes, I remember that feeling. And then, boom, connected. I'm like, why am I doing this? Because I know this could make the difference for a kid to get a new pair of shoes, like it did for me when I was 6. And so all of a sudden it came together like real burning hot. And I told Mom, I said, do you remember that story? And she goes, I kind of pushed that in the back of my mind. Yeah, of course. I'm pretty embarrassed to say, but yeah, we were struggling then. I said, Mom, I never forgot. And I said, I now know what it feels like to give somebody a second chance, to give them a hand up. It's not a handout, it's a hand up. It's a hand up to, hey, get you back on your feet, get you on that path. After that, we got into a house. My dad got a good job and we started providing. But I fast forward 42 years later, I'm talking to Mom and I said, Mom, I know how that feels now. And I was able to do that for these 500 kids. And it was a blessing. And the teachers would cry and the directors would come out and, oh my gosh, got a big hug and stuff. She goes, I'm so proud of you, son. And this is where it gets really tough, David, because that was Christmas Eve 2018. A couple hours later, my brother calls and said, Mama is collapsed in her bedroom. I'm freaked out, James. I don't know what to do. I said, call 911. Don't talk to me, call 911. She said, I don't know what to do. I said, call 911, tell them to send an ambulance, tell me where you're going, which hospital, and I'll meet you there. They were in Fort Worth, about an hour away. I rushed over there. Mom had a stroke that night, a couple hours after I talked to her. The last conversation I had with Mom, because unfortunately she never recovered, 6 weeks later she passed.
Man.
And the last conversation I had with Mom was about the shoes. So it got real personal real fast. So fast forward 2025 now, we've helped 36,000 kids with shoes. It's a full-fledged 501c3 called Sharp Shoes Foundation. We've helped literally dozens and dozens and dozens of nonprofits, dozens and dozens of schools all over the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. We've actually helped kids in other countries like Mexico, Canada, down in Haiti, so forth. We've helped people wherever the need is. I say yes, and then we figure out the rest.
Man, I don't even know what to say at this point, James. I'm trying to hold back tears right now, brother. What a great story. Rags to riches story. And that, real estate doesn't define you, man. It's your heart
Yeah.
that defines you.
Yeah, thank you.
The way you give unselfishly,
Well,
and it's amazing. No wonder you're one of the best realtors in the area. No wonder
Yeah,
people are attracted to you.
it's been a pretty cool joy. Now, the shoes kind of start the conversation, but when I get to share the shoe story, like, hey, where I came from, why is it so important? How my commitment to my mom was at her deathbed. I had held her hand, I brushed her hair, and I kissed her sweet cheek, and I said, Mama, I'm going to make you proud. I'm going to do this in a big kind of way. In 2019, she passed February 1st, 2019. I made a commitment that day that I'm going to do 5,000 pairs of kids' shoes in 2019. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Dude, I'm a full-time realtor. I've never done anything like this. I don't have a group of people. I don't have a huge bank account, but I know people and I know things will work out. And what's so cool, when you have a strong enough why, your how will show up. Isn't that crazy? And so I said, I'm going to do this for Mom. And kid you not, we got over 5,000 kids' shoes given, donated, raised, or I bought that year, and we gave every single pair out. We gave them out. And it burned into me like a burning desire. So now when I tell people, hey, you buying a house, it's a big deal for me. It's a real big deal because after you buy this house, we close on it, I immediately go out and buy 12 pairs of shoes for these kids who can't afford them. And so your one action is going to impact 12 more kids. And they're like, what? Tell me more. And I've had clients literally, now we do all of our events tied in with Sharp shoes. So we just had a huge event with Santa Claus. We had the hot chocolate, we had the cookies and Santa Claus, and we had the opportunity, hey, we got some shoes to be needed, and these are all shoes for the Christmas rush. And we raised several hundred pairs of shoes just at that last event last month. And that was my clients also tapping in their way to, hey, we want to also support James. He's been an amazing resource. He's been my realtor for 20 years, whatever. I love the guy. I love what his passion is. And when you surround others in your passion and what you're good at, people will respond. And that's what's, I think, needed more than ever, is that there is more need now than ever before. But the shoes are kind of near and dear to me because I saw what it meant to get those shoes when I was 6 years old. I went to school after Christmas break. I thought it was 10 foot tall, Shaquille O'Neal style. I was like, come on, baby, check these out. White Converse, man. And still to this day, when I see a pair of white Converse, it's like, oh, those are cool. And, but yeah, I still, when I put on a pair of shoes, even like these today, it brings me back to 6-year-old James. And I said, well, if I know that feeling for somebody that never saw me again, never knew my story, just heard of our need, they knew us enough that they got the kids' ages and sizes and figured out how to get us, what we needed. But I never take that for granted, David, that there's somebody out there with a tremendous need. And it's my job to keep going on this journey, sell as many houses as I can so I can impact and put a kids. My goal before I die is 1 million pairs of kids' shoes on 1 million pairs of feet. So we're on the way, and it's not done yet. And yet some amazing doors have opened in the last 5 years since I've been doing this. And I'm excited for 2025 because I want to do more kids' shoes in a bigger way. And if somebody's listening to this and they said, hey, I know somebody that can help, or hey, I know a family that's in need, just find us on sharpshoes.org. It's cool because when I went to that person, I'm like, when you said Sharp Shoes, do you realize this ripple effect? And they're like, no, it's just, I liked your shoes, dude. They were cool. And I just said Sharp Shoes. And I said, Sharp is my last name. And it's connected to so much because I want these kids to feel that experience too. To feel like they can go to school, they can participate in group sports, they can be not embarrassed that they didn't have but flip-flops. I mean, there's still kids today, Frisco schools, Plano schools, not to pick out anybody, but there's dozens of hundreds of kids who go to school every day and they don't have 2 bits for shoes or clothes or for the school programs and stuff like that. So they can't do band, they can't do group sports, they can't play ball. But if they get a pair of shoes, a lot of times these kids are just over the moon excited. So then they feel a little bit more normal.
Man, James, that's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what's the big plans for 2025?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I was just going through some goals and stuff. I'm a big goal guy. go guy because Brian Buffini, he built it into me. He's like, hey, have a goal to get your first deals going. And so I wrote a goal back in 2002, like I want to sell a dozen homes before I'm done with this year. And mind you, I hadn't sold any houses for 6 months. So to say I'm going to sell 12 in the next 6 months is kind of a big statement. No kidding. I did that and then some back then in 2002. Since then, I've been able to close every single month for over 23 years, a house a month. At least. There's a lot of agents, like I said, 47% haven't sold anything in the last 12 months. I said, I sold 3 last week. What are you doing the other 51 weeks of the year? So to me, this is a business now where it is rewarding activity, but you got to take massive action. As Tony Robbins would say, you want to take charge of your life, you got to take massive action. You can't just look at the threshold and say, that's a great door, but I ain't going to go through it. He's like, you got to push that door open, you got to blast through it, and you got to do massive action. And sometimes I don't do the right stuff, and sometimes I do. But the goal for 2025 is we want to impact over 80 families in 2025. We impacted 64 families last year. The average agent sells 4 houses, and then that's average. There's a bunch who have sold none, and when you do 64 deals, that's a lot of families. So we want to do more than that this year. I'm on task to do that, but it also means that we want to do a bunch more kids' shoes. I love to take that number over 40,000 in 2025. We want to blow past that number, and I think we're on the way to do that. But I'm also going to take more time for me. I'm going to also take care of my 2 remaining boys. I lost my daughter last year, David, and when you lose a precious 23-year-old, she had a tremendous health issue. She dealt with an autoimmune issue, mast cell disease. And when she passed, she made me promise her to live life to the fullest. And I promised my daughter, Karis, I said, I will absolutely do that, baby. And she goes, and also do me a favor, Dad, take care of you for me. So my goal is to be the best version of James. I show up here. Obviously take care of myself health-wise, but also take others on the journey to make my business very successful, as successful as I can, so I can take others in the carpool lane. And the real estate's a catalyst. We're charged to do good on this planet. You know, story of the talents, the guy that got 5, the guy that got 2, and the guy that got 1. And what do you do with those 5? If you take the 5, double it to 10, well done, good and faithful servant. So I feel like I've been granted some talent and some second chance here. I should have been in that house fire, David. My mom saved me back in 1976 from my tremendous, we burned up in the fire. We would not be here. So I owe my life to my mom. And going forward now, it's like I want to impact, improve the lives of my clients through real estate services, but to do it in a way that's ethical, above reproach, do it in a way where I sleep good at night, but also make a difference too with this shoe charity, and to also just kind of spread the good news, like, hey, this is a good time. We're in the most prosperous time that we can. Best, and like, if you can't make it in this day and age, it's like, come on, man, really? But also, there's a lot of people, I think, that are they just feel like they're down on their luck. They got the short straw. They don't have the means to buy a house. They don't have the means to get out of welfare. And I said, hey, I'm one proof. Like, we were on welfare, dude. I've been in a clinic where you took a number and you waited 3 hours to see a physician, if you're lucky. I've been on government's food stamps. I used to help my mom count out the little food stamps or do the little food things, so clip coupons and stuff just so we can eat. So, and I've been on that chain when you got, food that doesn't taste like food, It's like, yeah, here's the government surplus cheese. It doesn't taste like cheese. There ain't cheese in there, but, that's what they're packaging at. I have some means now, and I've been blessed with real estate. Real estate's been very good to me, but it's also one of the best things I would tell you is after losing my daughter, it was, show me your friends, I'll show you who you are. My friends in real estate, they rallied around me. I have been so blessed. I had 30 realtors from 15 states that showed up for Celebration of Life. I couldn't tell you how much that meant to me. If you tell me this, that my best people in my life, my cornermen and women, would be other brothers and sisters from other mothers and misters, it's all through real estate. And so my goal in 2025, David, is to elevate my relationships, my business, my foundation, and my life.
Well, James, what a wonderful story.
Thank you, bud.
Man, we can sit here and talk to you all day.
Thank you for this opportunity.
But I know that you have people that you got to show real estate to,
Yep.
man. You're a top-notch guy. What did we should have talked about that we didn't talk about today?
Well, I have a burning passion to help people with real estate. So first and foremost, that they can find me on social media. I'm out there, the Sharp Real Estate Agent on Instagram. Sharp Real Estate is on Facebook, and James Sharp in Plano if you look on Facebook. But also, I have a passion to really keep the message of, believe in yourself. To me, I'm only where I'm at by the good grace of some other good people. I've been on their shoulders. I've been lifted up with, some wonderful people like Brian Buffini, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn and stuff there. And if somebody's listening to this now, this podcast, and they feel a little down on their luck, they feel like, hey man, I didn't get the full bag. I didn't get the good genes. I don't know how I'm going to make rent this week or whatever. Hey, first step is to believe in yourself. What are you doing today? Today's the day when you take charge of yourself. So to me, I had to make a moment. When I made the decision in 2002, I signed up for Brian's coaching. I believed in myself. I said, hey, I'm going to take that first step. And then I did what he said to do. The cool thing is, in this day and age, is you have so many resources that are YouTube, click away. There's no excuse. But the first thing is to get out of your own way. Get out of your own head. When you're in your head, you're dead. When you're in your heart, you're living. Thank you, Tony, for that one. That is a blessing. And when you live for others, like I'm doing now, David, when you give it out there, that's real life. That's real living. So to finish up with this, I'm like, you want to do what matters most to you and do it in a way, I think, where, be proud of what you do. Can you put your name to it? Are you waking up excited each morning? I woke up so excited this morning. I took a cold shower. I'm like, this is January, baby. But that thing woke me up, and it woke up a beast inside me. It says, I have some unfinished business to get to between now and the end of my business day when I'm putting my head on the pillow. Who I'm going to impact, how I'm going to do it. And my word of the year is elevate. So my filter for everything is, hey, am I going to do this podcast? How am I going to do this podcast in an elevated platform so I can make somebody's day, make them worth their 30 minutes or whatever they're listening to this? I feel like we've done that today. I also feel like I'm going to impact my clients, negotiate a deal, help this person sell this house, help this person through a challenge. And to do it in a way where it's with integrity and it's a give back and stuff there, and to do what matters most. My gifts, just like your gifts, I think are in the world of finance and, helping people through one of the biggest decisions they ever do in their life. Buying a home is such a big deal. People don't realize it's not like just going buying a coffee or buying a little set of tires for a car. It's buying a house, and the house comes with all the dreams and all the memories you want to make with it and stuff. So to me, as we wrap this up, it's about living an on-purpose life. Where have we heard that before? Purpose-driven life, right?
Yep.
But also, Rick Warren said in there too, you want to do something that just resonates into your gut. It's like a tuning fork that goes off. And to me, my tuning fork in 2025 is to elevate the game and then separate from the pack.
Man. Well, James, if the people want to find you, and I know they do, how they find you?
As I mentioned, Instagram, The Sharp Realtor. On social media, on Facebook, it's James Sharp, Plano, Texas. My phone number is probably the best. It's 214-403-9916. And we're just a phone call away. Look us up, check us out, DM me on social media, reach out to me, connect. Hey, I heard that on the podcast. Thank you, David. This has been a joy. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited for what we have in store in 2025. And the best is yet to come, brother.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Well, if you guys are watching live, you saw that go across the lower thirds. So if you're looking for real estate out there or just want to donate to his charity, look up James with that phone number or his social media feed. I'm David Wynn. I'm with the Mortgage Edge Podcast. Thanks for being with us today. Bye, guys.